And here's your prescription.
I know just the pharmacy to get this filled.
Who are you?
A pharmacy benefit manager. A middleman your insurer uses to decide which medicines you can get, what you pay, and sometimes even which pharmacy you should go to.
Why can't I go to a pharmacy in my neighborhood?
Because I make more money when you go to a pharmacy I own.
No one should stand between you and your medicine. Visit phrma.org/middleman to learn more. Paid for by Pharma.
I'm Josh Klein.
And I'm Elise Hugh.
We host a podcast from Accenture called Built for Change.
Every part of every business is being reinvented right now. That means companies are facing brand new pressures to use fast evolving technologies and address shifting consumer expectations.
But with big changes come even bigger opportunities. We've talked with leaders from every corner of the business world to learn how they're harnessing change to totally reinvent their companies.
And how you can do it too.
Subscribe to Built for Change now so you don't miss an episode.
This is Optimal Finance Daily, episode 2455. 5 Strategies for Protecting Your 401k Savings from Economic Collapse by Len Penzo of lenpenzo.com. And I'm your host and personal finance enthusiast, Diana Merriam. Now let's jump right into our next post as we optimize your life. 5 Strategies for Protecting Your 401k Savings from Economic Collapse by Len Penzo of lenpenzo.com. After more than a decade of the Fed's reckless monetary policies, in particular persistent near-zero interest rates and their relentless de facto currency printing campaign, better known as quantitative easing, the financial system has been so badly distorted that conventional wisdom regarding strategic management of personal finances has been officially turned on its head. In fact, the entire monetary system is wobbling like a punch-drunk boxer who doesn't appear to have the stamina to survive the current round, let alone finish the contest. Judging from my current email, more and more of you agree, and as a result are becoming interested in protecting your wealth. I'm happy to see it. In particular, reader Jen asked, should I focus on contributing as much to my 401k retirement plan as possible, or allocate some of it to buy precious metals? And if so, how much? Unfortunately, there's no one-size-fits-all answer. How you allocate your retirement savings is entirely up to you and nobody else. In my case, after faithfully contributing the maximum amount to my 401k retirement plan for many years, I eventually found the courage to limit my 401k contributions to only take advantage of the full company match and use the residual cash to purchase wealth insurance in the form of physical gold and silver. There was even a period when I went a step further and stopped contributing to my 401k altogether, although that didn't last long. I then continued to limit my 401k contributions to only my employer match until I reached my target allocation of physical gold and silver. Buying wealth insurance. So, how much physical gold and silver is required to protect the hard-earned wealth that's locked up in your 401k retirement plan? In his book, The Death of Money, author James Rickards notes that a useful way to think about precious metals insurance function is that a 500% return on 20% of a portfolio provides a 100% portfolio hedge. I know what you're thinking. What the heck does that mean? If James is correct, and I believe he is, it means that you can fully protect the wealth that's currently locked in your 401k plan by keeping precious metals in your possession equivalent to 20% of your total nest egg. Here's a slightly oversimplified example. Let's say you have a $50,000 nest egg, $40,000 in your 401k and $10,000 in physical gold and or silver. In this case, $10,000 in precious metals represents 20% of your total savings. Now let's say the dollar collapses and its value essentially falls to zero. If that happens, worst case, the $40,000 in your 401k would be zero. Rickards and many others estimate that if the dollar tanks, the value of precious metals in your possession will increase 5 times. I think that's extremely conservative, but let's stick with the conventional wisdom of 5 times. If that's true, then the $10,000 held in precious metals would now be worth $50,000. Did you see what happened? Although your 401k was completely wiped out, the post-collapse value of your physical gold and/or silver soared to $50,000. In other words, the dollar became worthless, but the purchasing power of your nest egg remained unchanged. And that is how a portfolio protected with precious metals acts as wealth insurance. Protection strategies. If you're considering a little wealth insurance to protect the retirement nest egg you've currently got locked up in your 401k, there are multiple options to consider, depending upon, number 1, your tolerance for early withdrawal penalties, number 2, your confidence in the ongoing viability of the US dollar, and most importantly, number 3, how much of your nest egg you want to insure. Keep in mind that while a 20% allocation in precious metals should provide 100% protection, most people typically choose to hedge their nest eggs with a 10% allocation, or even less. That being said, assuming your goal is to fully hedge your nest egg with a 20% portfolio allocation in precious metals, here are 5 potential ways to get there. Number 1, if you're certain collapse is imminent, you could pull 20% of your 401k immediately, take the tax penalty hit for early withdrawal, and then buy precious metals with the remaining proceeds. Then again, if you were that certain of collapse, you'd probably want to pull out all of your money from your 401k and just replace it with physical precious metals. Number 2, if you believe a collapse is probable but not imminent, you could temporarily stop your 401k contributions until you acquire enough precious metals to make up 20% of your portfolio. Then resume allocating 80% of your savings to the 401k and 20% to physical precious metals. Number 3, if you believe a collapse is possible, but more than several years away, you could contribute only enough to your 401k to get the company match and use additional funds to buy precious metals a bit more gradually until 20% of your nest egg consists of precious metals. Number 4, if you think collapse is a long shot but still want insurance, just in case, you can continue maximizing your 401k contributions and only purchase precious metals whenever you find a little extra spending money. And number 5, you could borrow from your 401k and use the proceeds to buy physical precious metals, if possible, equivalent to 20% of your total retirement nest egg. Yes, if you lose your job, you'll have to pay back the loan within a short time frame in order to avoid withdrawal penalties and taxes. However, since the proceeds are only being used to exchange fiat dollars for real money, paying back the loan shouldn't be difficult. Of course, you could also pass on wealth insurance altogether, essentially betting on a strong US dollar, healthy world financial system, and the ability of the powers that be to continue holding things together far into the future. But that's for you to decide. How will you know which path is the right one for you? The only sure way is to tell by observing how well you sleep at night after making your decision. As for me, I slept like a baby. You just listened to the post titled 5 Strategies for Protecting Your 401k Savings from Economic Collapse by Len Penzo of lenpenzo.com.
And here's your prescription.
I know just the pharmacy to get this filled.
Who are you?
A pharmacy benefit manager. A middleman your insurer uses to decide which medicines you can get, what you pay, and sometimes even which pharmacy you should go to.
Why can't I go to a pharmacy in my neighborhood?
Because I make more money when you go to a pharmacy I own.
No one should stand between you and your medicine. Visit phrma.org/middleman to learn more. Paid for by Pharma.
I'm Josh Klein.
And I'm Elise Hu.
We host a podcast from Accenture called Built for Change.
Every part of every business is being reinvented right now. That means companies are facing brand new pressures to use fast evolving technologies and address shifting consumer expectations.
But with big changes come even bigger opportunities. We've talked with leaders from every corner of the business world to learn how they're harnessing change to totally reinvent their companies.
And how you can do it too.
Subscribe to Built for Change now so you don't miss an episode.
I would be hesitant to change my asset allocation in the way described in this article because no one has a crystal ball and/or knows how the market will move. From what I've read about gold, it's an asset that's most appropriate for a portfolio in decumulation because it won't help you grow wealth, but it can be a hedge against losses. If you follow investment news shows that make these kinds of predictions about what the market or dollar will do, it can make you feel like you need to do something when it comes to your investments. They encourage you to constantly switch up what you're invested in, and this often leads to doubting your investment strategy for the newest fad. But the reality is that the investors who are getting the best results aren't messing with their investments constantly. I'm reminded of a famous quote from Jack Bogle, who's the father of index funds, when he said, quote, "Don't do something, just stand there," end quote. In fact, a number of years ago, Fidelity did a study where they looked at which of their accounts did best. And it turned out that they were the accounts of people who forgot that they had an account at Fidelity. And that's a wrap for another Thursday show. Have a great rest of your day, and I'll be back tomorrow as usual, where your optimal life awaits.